My name is Mario Del Castillo, and this is my presentation on the future of learning at work. To borrow a quote from Dr. Albert Einstein, he said, "Don't expect different results if you're doing the same things." Over the last many years, most organizations have been putting in a lot of investment and time in developing better training through better ideas, better tools, and better technology. But have we looked at learning and tried to get better at learning? This presentation is about the forces driving future learning, 6 megatrends in future learning, what companies are doing to get ready for future learning, fourth generation learning and development, and emerging L&D competencies. What is a driving force? Simply put, a driving force is the power that puts things in motion. And in learning and development, we have the following driving forces. We have hybrid workspace, learning sciences, the arrival of millennials and Gen Z into the workplace, and learning technology improvements. These are the four big drivers that are pushing the trends in learning. Let's take a look at each one of them. First, hybrid workspaces. We know that the pandemic introduced the world to a new way of working, which is working from home. Now, post-pandemic, many people now have prefer working from home rather than in an office, while still others were quite eager to get back to office-based work. So as a result, organizations have decided to have hybrid workspaces. In other words, you can choose where you want to work, from the home or in the office. The next driving force, the coming of our young friends, the Gen Z, into the workplace with their different priorities and different values and what they think is being happy and what they consider as being loyal and whether or not they would like to spend more time in an organization. They have a different set of values altogether and they work differently. In fact, they have different preferences for learning. Their top choice, learning from coworkers. Second choice, learning by Googling. Third, conversations and meetings. Fourth, joining networks, both inside and outside the organization. Fifth choice, external blogs, news feeds. You can see that classroom training is not among the top 5 choices. The next driving force, advancement in learning technology. We now have tools for creating and delivering more engaging learning courses, and they have become more accessible. They have become less expensive, and many of them are actually free of charge. From augmented reality to artificial intelligence, more high-tech resources are fueling the evolution of training. Discoveries in learning sciences. Only in the last few years, we have learned much more about the process of learning in human beings. We now know about the psychological and even biological processes when people are learning. And thus, we are coming up with new discoveries, such as the importance of active learning, spaced out learning, self-paced learning, multisensory learning, microlearning. We now know about how to improve the brain's ability to encode and recall information from learning experiences, as well as how to improve the learner's ability to learn. Aside from the big four, there were other trends. One of them was the big resignation. This was when individuals decided to press the pause button instead of going back to work to rethink about their lives and what they wanted to do with it. There was the gig economy, the rise of the gig economy, where people, especially young people, decided to maintain their work as freelancers. And then there was quiet quitting, the lack of engagement among office employees. So, what do organizations need as soon as possible? Most organizations will be looking for skilling solutions for fast, agile, internal mobility. There simply aren't enough talent to go around to fill all the jobs that organizations have. They have to bring in people from outside or move people around internally. And in either case, they need fast learning solutions. So here's a quick recap of those driving forces. Hybrid workspaces are becoming normal. In fact, they are already normal. Millennials and Gen Z are here, learning tech innovations and learning science breakthroughs. You can pause this for a while to think or to chat with your colleagues. What are your thoughts about the driving forces for change in learning and development? Now let's discuss the six megatrends in learning and development. What are trends? They are general directions in which things are happening. Trend number one, learning anytime, anywhere. It used to be that employees had to go to a classroom for their learning. Right now, the classroom has gone to the learners. Learning has become mobile and at the time and place of need, always learner led and from mobile also now micro. For example, this sales executive can review product features and benefits on the way to a client meeting. That's called learning in the flow of work. Trend number two, game based learning. Game based learning has become very, very popular and will become even more popular moving forward because of the higher completion rates, up to 90%. It also boosts critical thinking and problem solving skills and is great for team building. Here's a prototype of a physical and digital game to teach primary students on the dangers of using the internet. The point of game based learning is that it's fun to learn. Trend number three, adaptive learning. We have always had this problem of one size fits all training. But because we have artificial intelligence engines, we can now make available customized learning resources to individual learners to suit their pace. So the content complexity will be based on each individual learner based on their requirement and their pace of learning. Trend number four, social learning. This is the 20 in the 10-20-70 rule, where learners learn by observing and copying others who can be their boss, their coaches, mentors, or work buddies. This is done while on the job, but it's also premised on having agile learners in the workforce. Here's one example of social learning. Line dancers following their coach is an easy example. It's called monkey see, monkey do learning. People at work learn the same way by watching and copying the behavior of others. Trend number five, the use of AR and AI. We are now at the stage where we are moving away from learning management systems to learning experience platforms. These are platforms which have an AI engine which is able to curate content that is based on a learner's requirement and pace. We can also use virtual simulation with virtual reality and have virtual coaches using augmented reality. Here we see a dental assistant learning how to apply anesthesia to a patient using virtual reality. Trend number six, learning analytics. Since a lot of our learning is now using digital platforms, we are now able to accumulate big amounts of data. We can use this data to improve learning process, track learner progress, and have more accurate evaluation. So a quick recap of the learning megatrends. Learning anywhere, anytime, game-based learning, adaptive learning, social learning, the use of AR and AI, and learning analytics. You can stop now and think about the trends in learning and development. What are your thoughts about the trends in learning? Now let's see whether your organization is ready. What are other organizations doing to anticipate this new future in learning? According to the latest LinkedIn surveys, companies are going to increase their learning and development budgets. In fact, globally, 48% of learning and development professionals surveyed said that their organizations are going to increase their budgets. It's even a bigger percentage in Asia Pacific. 57% of those L&D professionals surveyed said that they will be spending more in learning and development in the coming years. Where will that money be spent? Much of it will be in upskilling and reskilling of employees. Why, you say? It's because of the big disruption in the way companies are doing business due to pandemics and other factors. Leadership is also an evergreen area of investment for organizational learning. What else are organizations going to do about preparing for the future? They're going to develop learning in the flow of work. More learning to take place on the job through projects and gigs. This is the 70 in the 10-20-70. Learning from your own work experience. Learning in the flow of work, which is actually more experiential and adult friendly. L&D will need to provide solutions for increasing skill gaps. Everybody's saying that their skill gaps are increasing. 46% of L&D pros said that their skill gaps are getting wider, and 49% say that they don't have the skill gap needed to execute business strategy. So it's a big problem. Organizations are also preparing for the future of learning by building future learning ecosystems which are built around their agile learners. What are the parts of the learning ecosystem? The agile learners will benefit from learning partners. This may include their manager, their supervisor, coaches, mentors, work buddies, learning advisors from learning and development department. They will like to have a knowledge base, an organized repository of pertinent information that the agile learner can access. The agile learner would benefit from learning pathways. A pathway is a curriculum which consists of learning activities, courses, and practical exercises and experience which will help them achieve competence in certain set competency areas. They will still require formal training when the presence of a skilled facilitator or subject matter expert becomes useful. So here's a quick recap of what companies are doing. Bigger budgets and spending more on L&D. Priorities would be upskilling, reskilling, and leadership. More on the job learning in the flow of work. The 70 in the 10-20-70. Focusing on the larger skill gaps and building learning ecosystems. What are your thoughts about what companies are doing and how your organization should prepare for the future of learning? Let's talk about skills. First, what are the future skills that will be relevant to all organizations? The World Economic Forum has come up with a set of 15 skills we will need by 2025, and they are arranged according to first, critical thinking, including analytical thinking, innovation, complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity and initiative, reasoning, problem solving, and ideation. Relationship skills, active learning, learning strategies, leadership and social influencing, resilience, stress tolerance, flexibility, emotional intelligence, and service orientation. Technology skills, the use of technology and monitoring and controlling technology, the use of technology for engineering designs, and the use of technology for troubleshooting and better user experience. Also systems analysis and evaluation. So we could say that these 15 skills are organized into head skills, heart skills, and hand skills. What is the level of learning maturity in your organization? Josh Bersin from the Bersin organization has come up with this model of 4 levels of learning organization. Level 1, episodic programmatic, where 35% of companies polled are in, represents informal learning, where there is no formalized learning and development, such as when new employees come in and the boss says, go there and work with Harry, and he'll show you how it's done. That's called episodic. Level 2 is responsive contextualized. Here we now have a formal L&D department or a formal L&D function. It could may not be a department, it could be a sub-department under HR. But here we have more formalized needs analysis, design, development, and implementation of programs. Level 3 is when the L&D goes outside its usual silo and moves into a bigger arena called talent development and talent management. That's called level 3. And level 4 is when these organizations are now more concerned about preparing for anticipated future skills and learning in the flow of work. Where is your organization in the 4 levels of organization learning maturity? So it looks like we in learning and development also need to go through our own upskilling and reskilling process. What about us, therefore? What skills do we need for our L&D future? There are many new roles that we will see in learning and development moving forward, such as learning advisor, learning experience designer developer, facilitator, knowledge curator. So for these, we will need new sets of competencies. The Association for Talent Development has come up with a new framework called the Talent Development Capability Model, wherein the competencies are mentioned. Let's take a look at each part of it. The first is called Building Personal Capability, which includes capabilities such as communication, EQ, collaboration and leadership, cultural awareness, inclusion, project management, compliance, and lifelong learning. So the learning and development professional collaborates well with others, exhibits good leadership skills, models the desired values, is well organized, and has a passion for lifelong learning. Within our own silo, we have our technical competencies or technical capabilities, the learning sciences, instructional design, training delivery facilitation, technology application, knowledge management, career and leadership development, coaching, and evaluation impact. An L&D pro is able to analyze needs and design and implement learning solutions, evaluate impact, and is grounded on the principles of those learning sciences and emerging technology. The third cluster is all about how learning and development can be a better business partner by going outside the silo and helping improve organizational performance. This includes business insight, consulting and business partnering, organization development and culture, talent strategy and management, and so on. An L&D professional is a valued business partner who knows as much about running the business as anyone else and is able to participate and contribute on issues of strategic importance. How then can I grow my learning and development skills for the future? Just like everybody else, we had to do our own 10-20-70. 10% formal learning, 20% social learning, and 70% self learning or learning from real on the job experience. So let's take a look at the formal learning part. We in ITD World are prepared to help you with the formal learning that will make you a future learning and development professional. For acquiring a broad ADDIE-based set of learning and development competencies, we recommend the Certified Training Professional Program. For gaining the higher level skills of instruction and learning design, we have the Certificate in Instructional Design and Development. For transitioning to future talent development and learning, we have the Certified Talent Development and Learning Professional. And for acquiring critical learning skills for learners, the Accelerated Learning Agility, a new program which makes use of game-based learning. What are your thoughts about future skills? Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'd like to say farewell and leave you with this thought. The best way to prepare for the future is to invent it. I hope you are able to get in touch with me if we can be of any assistance.